Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be starting my round 9 AFL fantasy game reviews, going through in this game it'll be Richmond versus Geelong. It'll probably be a quicker video because I didn't catch either of the Friday night games as I was out at a function. So before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, a usual suspect now is just TARANTO, 21-30, but then popped off in the second half, it looks like here, to really, 78 second half to get up to a 129. Quite annoyed because, well, I was quite annoyed initially before we saw the likes of, I'll make this a little bit smaller as a matter of fact, there we go, now we can actually see all of the important stuff. I was really annoyed initially because Timmy Taranto was a guy that in my Twitter I had a poll between him and Goulden for captain, and he put out a 129, and I thought that at that point that the best that Goulden could do would probably be to match that score, but as we know later on, he actually bettered it, so I actually went plus 24 on a lot of captains in the top 10,000 or so. I think it was like 45% vice captaincy or captaincy from Toronto, meaning I netted 24 free points basically for being a little bit ballsy and going for Goulden. And that was basically it. Dusty, I do not know what to think about it. He did kick 3 goals in the last here, and 3 goals overall only, so he was still on 52, 67 at 3/4 time without a goal. So is there much to look into this? Maybe, but I'll look back at since I wasn't really playing fantasy when Dusty was at his I guess his peak. I need to look back and see how he did actually score to see if this is an option, but I don't think it is. Short 113, I wish I could get him, but it looks pretty limited at the moment now. It looks, I was looking at plans about who to get in, but I think I'll be safe if I do go and just try and upgrade the likes of a Warple next week, so I could go to another round 14 guy with a huge, so I could go to a premium and have that 5 premium midfield now. But yeah, I don't think it will be short as he is round 15. I'll show you quickly what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at upgrading Warple because initially I thought Holland and Shinkoda just because of those terrible scores, but I'll try and find a way to link in now Mitchell, as Mitchell looks, job security looks fine, and he looks like he's finally getting used. The ball's getting used for him, and he's got the likes of West Coast Eagles coming up next, where he should actually score well because Hawthorn will struggle to pass it around like Gold Coast did, and that'll mean that he will get more points, I think, compared to like a Powell and McPherson. So I'll try and link those two, but the plan, I had plans going through my head, like how can I get Shinkoda up with Wilmot? Will I have to sacrifice Ryan and others like that? And the same was said about Holland as he was subbed out, but I think they're just trying to sub him out now so that they don't have to sit him for a game, sub him out for a quarter and you can play him another game or two and really get him towards that bye where he gets a week and then can play the full 23 game season. Then you have Rioli here, 102. He's a guy that I think will just be a 85-90 type of guy, I think. And he had a little purple patch to start the season as sort of slowed down a little bit. Broad 88, McIntosh. Baker's role is pretty much ruined for any fantasy relevant things. So I'd be jumping off him if you had him and use like a Wilmot or a not a Chesser, but like a Long or something like 320k and have used the spare 20-30k that you probably have in the bank to be able to get him up to someone big, as his price is just going to fall now. Prestia, Bolter, Revolt, and then you have Ryan here at 72, huge, and I'm just going to try and, I think I can get one more week out of him because he'll have near enough a negative break even next week, and he'll be 450, 460k, and that'll enable him to almost, even with Nank back in the team, say he gets a 40, get up towards 490k, and then trade out Hollands with him next week, as Hollands will probably have another only 10 or so k to go, 10, 15k, and Hollands will be 540k, Ryan 500k, get in the Port Ruckman that's potentially going to come in if Teakle goes down and they don't trust Lysette. So do that, and basically because those two are in the same buy round, I think they're both round 15, swap those two around and net 290k, and also use that to upgrade Hollands, as I'll probably have around 10 or 20k left in the bank, and that'll enable me to get up to someone around that 830, 820 range, where there's a lot of guys. There's a big gap between this like 670 to 730 and this 780 to 820 range that a lot of guys are in. Then you have Graham, Bolton went down. Ross, Vloston's just not doing much. Didn't Cochin kick 3 or something? 1, 2, he kicked 3 in the end. He's not going to kick 25 in a year though. That's a pretty funny joke. Mansell, Ralph Smith, Hopper got subbed out, so he's injured. So maybe we see another someone else return to the midfield for Richmond. Miller, Grimes, Clark, Pickett, and we move on to Geelong. And you've got Duncan here, 109. I just don't think he's consistent enough at the moment. Stewart, 96, just decided in the second half just to not bother him, and was on, 63 at halftime and didn't get to the ton, so he's doing his ton evasion skills at the moment. Well, he tried at the end to get there, because he got, if you look here, he got, in the last, minute and a half of the game, he got 14 points, so he was on 82 after being, he was on 19 in the second half until the last minute and a half of the game. So that's a really sort of poor effort by Stewart, to be honest. But, I mean, they were playing Richmond, and Richmond actually overran them in the end. So, yeah, really poor from him. Aitkins, wouldn't go for him. Cameron, Segler, Myers, Tui, Blickarves, none of these guys are that worth it. Nevitt was good, but price too high, honestly. Bruin again with a 70. Holmes dropped down a little bit, so good thing I didn't get him at all, especially with that second half. He was on 56 half time and got to 69. Hawkins, 62. And then no one else here really. Dempsey subbed out. I don't know whether that was an injury or just a tactical sub. And he got to 42 in the end, so maybe look at him if he isn't dropped, as he could be a good... another good... Well, the problem is he's going to get dropped. That's the thing. When players come back, he'll be dropped. And then Clark, it was a sub and got to his break even, so it didn't really matter. And yeah, so that's basically the video there. There wasn't much to talk about. Geelong seemed to not really be that fantasy friendly this year. And Richmond only really have Taranto, Short and Rioli, as well as Ryan to look at, and the rookies for Geelong don't really matter because they're going to get dropped anyway, because Scott prefers a lot of older guys. So that's the video there, and I'll see you guys in the other Friday night game and the early Saturday game. See you guys then. Bye.